Welcome to How to Keep Gran Turismo Sport Closed Beta as fun as it ever was. This video doesn't really apply to everybody because quite a lot of people still enjoy just racing in general and such, no matter how many cars and tracks there are and what kind of combinations there are and how much they're repeated. But the general trend is GT Sport Closed Beta is starting to lose active players now. And honestly, I'm not even as active as I used to be. Generally, if it's a Group 3 race, unless it's on an oval, and really not even that much Northern Isle anymore, unless it's on Blue Moon, I don't really do much Group 3 anymore, just because those cars are sporadic, and I'm not really all that good at driving sporadic cars. And usually, if it's at NERB, I ain't gonna do it anyway, and a lot of the times for Dragon Trail, I don't do them as often just because it's King of Chaos is just King of Chaos. And yeah, there's some reasons that people have become less active. But this is a video sort of to try to step in the right direction and still have a reason to play the game. Even if you ain't necessarily racing as much, you can still be active in the game and enjoy it. Because even though this is just a beta, there's still a whole heck of a heap of things you can do other than racing if the racing itself is starting to get annoying and or repetitive. One of the things that you can do is use it as a time trial. And I'm sure a lot of people do this anyway, so you can get a higher qualifying spot, but even if you ain't racing, all of the events that are up, just run like a time trial. Try to beat your friends and try to beat the other people on the leaderboards. The beta doesn't have a leaderboard beyond 10th and beyond your friends, annoyingly, but you can still sort of judge by how far you up your friends list or how close or far off you are of a top 10 time of where you are nationwide. Supposedly there's around about 5,000 people total in the beta, and I'd assume that probably means about 2,000 in America. So you can sort of just judge by that and then run it as a time trial and see how good you are against the rest. And obviously you'll have as many times as you want to try to improve because it's pretty much unlimited until the races end. So you can get better that way. And another way you can get better in general is by drifting. I know there ain't necessarily drift trials on this, but the N300 cars that are rear-wheel drive can drift pretty decently. I have tunes and such on my channel to where y'all can see how to drift them. And they ain't the most powerful, so you can't really hold a drift, but you can still drift around individual turns pretty picking good. And that can be something you can do too, is practice getting better with drifting. Because I'd assume Sport, the main game, is going to have drifting, given that it had a Gymkhana style event in one of the trailers. So go ahead and practice that now while we have time to. And a third thing to do to have more fun is watch other people who are really good and enjoy the racing even more on your free time, because then you can see how they race, maybe be able to copy their lines good and be better and enjoy racing more because, well, you're better. The faster you are, generally the more fun the racing is, and I ain't trying to brag or anything, but I can speak from experience with that. When I started the beta, I was average to slightly above average, depending on the track. And now I'm good. I'm not really an alien, but I can hold my own for quite a few races. Not this race, but this is why I'm showing this race. It's sort of this might happen, but you can still have other things to do if it ain't this type thing. And yeah, if you learn from others who know what they're doing, then you can know what you're doing too and get better that way. And then that sort of goes into the time trial again. If you learn from others, you can do better if you run this like a time trial, and then you improve that much more. Once you can combine all those things, that can have the game be a whole heck of a heap more playable, really, too. And I guess also there's another thing you can do with this track in particular, is you can go off-road on this track, kind of, sort of, unless the game resets you. Which is fun in and of itself too, because you can see how the suspension reacts, and you can try to flip your car and all kinds of general chaos. So, yeah, I know the beta ain't really for everyone anymore now that they've seen what it is and have a verdict on whether they like it or not. But for those who do like it but don't really seem to have enough stuff to do in it, well, just be creative and think of more stuff to do. Or even not necessarily creative, just repetitive in a productive way, like a time trial or something like that. Even though a lot of the beta is repetitive, it can be repetitive competitively, and repetitive competitive actually is a good thing, because then you become more competitive with repetition, because practice makes, well, not really perfect, because generally there's always someone who's better than you, unless you're like a mortal pilot or something like that. But practice definitely makes for a better overall run, and more competitive in general. So the more repetitive you run a time trial, the more competitive you're going to get, and that's definitely a good thing. And if you get tired of being repetitive, then do something different, like drift, or watch others do something different as well, and then you can have more fun that way. So, well, hope you all had fun watching this video, and now y'all know how you can have more fun in the game too. And if y'all have any other ideas of how to make it more fun, leave it down in the comments, and that'll help me have more fun too, because like I said, I ain't really playing as much either. And as always, yeehaw!